sailed away. The sea was rough and filled me with fear. The food was not the same, oh dear. The next stop was Genoa, and from there a train to Rome. Then again we embarked on the big ship, till we docked in England, our new home. Victoria, the underground, oh, it gave me such a fright. With windows that looked into darkness, as if day had turned to night. Where were the birds of color? The buildings, the clothes, so drab and gray. And when we entered our home in Hackney, there were no maids to my dismay. I recall back home they said, go out far and wide, England Street paved with gold. For there your future is sunny and bright, though the winters are dark and cold. I may have been young and inexperienced, and yet I knew the other half had not been told. I repeat, I may have been young and inexperienced, and yet I knew the other half had not been told. Leave? Are we going to stay here? Are we going to stay as we were and carry on? There's a lot of serious issues out there. You know, there's we have a lot of, the race thing is really playing up these days, as we all know. And a lot of things are coming to light. Things about black people being used as guinea pigs for the COVID, vaccine and so on. Are we going to be guinea pigs or guinea monkeys, whatever they want to call it? No, I think not, brothers and sisters. Then again, there's so many people out there also who, during lockdown, have become traumatized. And, there's so many people out there who have picked up bad habits during lockdown.
and there are those who picked up positive habits. So, it's all about cleaning up, Lockdown was about cleaning up, spiritually, mentally, and physically. I've seen a lot of children out there get very close to their parents during this lockdown here. I've seen a lot of relationships flower and bloom, and seen the children with smiles on their faces. Now things are going back the way they were. At least that will give them strength to go on to better things in their relationship with their parents. Because we all need that love, in our lives, and lockdown was a good time to, return to the love within, and to, get honest and clean up, and become better beings, to serve the Most High as well as serve our community. Yes, indeed, and ourselves, of course, our families, The healing process continues. I'd like to hear from anybody out there about any solutions they've got for, after lockdown. Are we digging our heels here to stay, or are we getting ready to go? This is the valley of decision, indeed. One brother called me earlier on today and said he's 25 years of age, and he's got a coke problem. He can't stop taking cocaine, and the fact of the matter is that he says he's a functioning addict. He goes to work, but every time after work he has to do it till the late hours and back to work again. He manages to work, but he can see, the destruction that lay ahead, that's lying ahead, waiting for him. Even the grave itself, jails, institutions, and death, depression, mental health institutions, and all sorts of things. Well, by the grace of the Most High, we had a heart-to-heart, honest talk, and I'm confident that he will recover, because the honesty that shone out of him was a clear indication that he's ready to change. And I hope this lockdown thing has caused us to be ready to change for the better also. It has been a great opportunity to prepare ourselves for a better way of life, have a relationship with our Creator, having a better relationship with ourselves, loving ourselves, not putting ourselves in unnecessary, dangerous situations, looking after our health, looking after our hygiene, not doing things that, this thing involves imprisonment, where there's lots of ways of earning money without having to be a criminal. Yes, and many of those ways are even far more profitable than the criminal way, and the way that in which we can grow, we don't have to hide, and this is the thing we need to show the youths, better ways of making money. It may require a little patience and so on, but at least it's slow but sure. Better become a millionaire or a multimillionaire in 5, 10 years, or even 15 years, than to try to become one overnight and end up losing your life, or doing a life sentence, or on the run, always hiding. Yeah, that's no life. We don't want to live like animals, brothers and sisters. We're here to glorify the Most High and perform good works, loving works, peaceful and harmonious works, that brings out the best in our community, that brings out the best in our children, that brings out the best in us, that lifts us up, that makes us feel good about ourselves, full joy about ourselves, satisfied within ourselves, you know. Yes, we have to respond to the higher self. You know, the lower self has had its way for too long. It's the lower self that has been keeping us apart, divided, because the lower self is selfish. You know, the lower self is arrogant and ignorant. The lower self is dishonest. You know, the lower self is envious, jealous. You know, the lower self is angry. The lower self uses self-justification. You know, the lower self is prejudice. You know, the lower self loves war and hates peace. You know, the lower self never loves, doesn't know love, only knows hate, always looking to hate. The lower self always looking to judge others. The lower self always looking to blame, you know, and all that. And it keeps us in a prison of pain and brings a dark cloud over our society. You know, and these things lead our children astray, thinking, well, you know, that is what they see, so that is what they do. Brothers and sisters, let's shine our lights, you know, the higher self, glorify the Most High, and be an example unto our children. You know, unto our brothers and sisters, unto each other. When one is down, let's help the other one up. Let's show the love. Let's unite, brothers and sisters. It's easy, it's simple, but we've been making it difficult for ourselves through selfishness, through lack of trust, through fear, you know, through all sorts of mental inner conflict and emotional inner conflict. Brothers and sisters, I'd just like to say that I'd love to hear from somebody out there. You know, there's a number here. Let's call this number, let's see. The number, we've only got one phone today, and I believe this number is 073 777 27505. 073 772 27505. Yes, brothers and sisters. All right, we're just gonna play another track here. Something from the album.
In London, England, with no maid in sight, I was given the job, but not to my delight. Peeling potatoes, gutting, scaling and seasoning fish, changing nappies and making bottles, sweeping, hoovering, shopping and laundering. I began to get resentful as I fell far away from heaven. At the tender age of 7, violently abused by my father, enslaved to domestic drudgery by my mother. With hope and prayers I played it cool, but the abuse continued, regardless of how well I did in school. When nigger and wog was flung at me, I simply used to laugh. Until Raymond Ricardo, my school friend, said, they're taking the piss. That's a fact. From then on I fought in school nearly every day, and had to watch out for knife-wielding racist gangs as I traveled from A to B. Feeling robbed of my childhood and still wetting the bed, nerve tablets were prescribed for me as I questioned the absence of Mammy's healing herb tea. Then there was the hernia operation in consequence of lifting things far too heavy for me. Today those nerve tablets are now called antidepressants, you see. light shone through the darkness at the age of 12 as I became lead singer of a band called Tracks. Got the job after singing a poem in a cappella in the English literature class. With singing and dancing, my emotions were unshelved, keeping a balance through what was a living hell. I never looked forward to going home from school. I'd rather be in a boarding house, no matter how strict the rules. Running away is the constant thought of the day, but not knowing where to go, I felt compelled to stay. I refused to call the police. I refused to tell people in school. I refused to tell my relatives, but Mommy was no fool. And my siblings knew the excruciating times that I was going through. As if that wasn't enough, I also had to suffer the sight and sound of my father's regular violent beatings of my mother, our beautiful, intelligent mother, who sometimes overdosed on aspirin, a cry for help undercover. To help her indeed I was determined to do, but only mere words came out instead, as I encouraged Ma to leave Pa as I would as soon as I could. As an academic pupil, I thought I'd escape via university, but the old man even thwarted that after killing my school life at Christmas before I took my exams in June. More rejection came as I was ejected from the house that I could never ever call a home. And as I descended further into darkness, paradise was just a memory as hell became my home. Yes, I have to say it again. As I descended further into darkness, paradise was just a memory as hell became my home.
Yes, brothers and sisters, hell became my home. You know, and if we're not careful, you know, we're walking our way into hell over here, brothers and sisters. We want to know what's going on, what's happening, you know. Tell us what's happening in your life, what's going on, what are your fears, what are your anxieties. You know, please call us on 07377227505. Yes, well, we're in rehab and we're coming out of rehab real soon. And some of you may have heard about my book called From Rehab to Life, you know, which was launched last month. And I'm just going to read from a chapter here called 139. Now, it's page 139, chapter 18. Resurrection time. I recalled my previous sentence when I still had the flat in Putney. I thought I'd secured the place by applying for the rent to be paid by Social Security through the social services at HMP Wandsworth. Prior to that, I'd received notice of eviction, which I opposed. This resulted in a civil court case scheduled for hearing during my sentence. Frantic phone calls to the court from myself and the prison service followed. even last-ditch letters from myself to the clerk of the court failed to get the hearing adjourned until after my release. The court ruling for eviction was ratified in my absence. The eviction date allowed me a month's stay before I had to vacate the premises. I had hoped to launch an appeal on my release, but failed to attend my solicitor's appointment because of my ongoing imprisonment and slavery to crack, cocaine, and alcohol. Yes, brothers and sisters, this is what happens when one becomes addicted, and to crack, cocaine, and alcohol. One ends up being homeless. One ends up being divorced from the wife, separated from the children, separated from friends, and separated from ourselves. Our mind become fragmented. Our emotions become unbalanced. In fact, even our mind is unbalanced. No balance there, brothers and sisters. And it's all lies, It never gets better, and this is the lie. To just carry on, and take this to anesthetize yourself until things get better. But in fact, things get worse, And right now, there's so much different kinds of addictions going on out there. Gambling, some people, pornography, so many different kinds of addictions out there, brothers and sisters. Overeating, it just goes on and on and on. Some people can't stop lying, lie. Them just addicted to tell lie all the while. Them can't find it hard to speak the truth. This is sickness, brothers and sisters. We have the only way to clean up is by the higher power, the power that is greater than ourselves. We have to admit, that we are sick before we can get well, brothers and sisters. And I thank God for the day when I admitted that. And although this chapter here is called Resurrection Time, it shows that I had to go so low before I rose again. So do not despair, all those who are suffering out there in a low and got even lower during lockdown and probably feeling even lower than ever now, and petrified, apprehensive, full of trepidation about, going back out there in the community after lockdown, from rehab back to life, and them dreading it because all they've done is kept going downhill for whatever reasons that may be, and the fact of the matter is, brothers and sisters, we just have to get honest with ourselves and ask for help, talk about, our fears, because to be honest with ourselves is to be strong. To lie to ourselves is to be weak, so let's be strong, and face the fear, and we realize that there was nothing to fear at all. It's all a figment of our imagination. And as it looked like I was going down into homelessness and all that sort of stuff, yet little did I know, that was the rock bottom that I needed to rise again. And I did rise again, brothers and sisters. It was a gradual process and a very painful process. And it's led me here to this day, to be, being here, filling the vacuum for Brother Dougie, the Brother Dougie, a beloved brother, left behind. It left me here today to have this album which I've been playing to you, Ex-Gangster's Odyssey. It's led me to publish this book here, From Rehab to Life. It's helped me to also be founder of the charity From Rehab to Life Foundation, which all proceeds from, the sale of Ex-Gangster's Odyssey, or this book, From Rehab to Life. It goes to the charity because we need lots of counselors. We need therapists, we need mentors, we even, anyone who's good at accounts, administrators, we need volunteers, You know, we need people who teach meditation and yoga and nutrition and yes, brothers and sisters. You know, even masseurs, you know, because all these things help us in our recovery. Yes, I experienced all that, you know, massage, yoga, meditation. These things help us to recover, helps to relax the body, slow the body down, you know, stop rushing around, you know, there's no need to rush. Every time we rush, the rush get crushed. You have to turn back because we forget the keys or, you know, something. You know what I mean? Or we have to turn back because we left the fire on underneath the pot or some kind of, you know. So it's good, brothers and sisters. Let's take our time. Let us look within. It's an inner journey. All the solutions in our life lies within us. It's not out there. You know, money alone cannot solve our problems, brothers and sisters. Having material things alone cannot solve our problems, brothers and sisters. They help, you know, but what we need, brothers and sisters, is the love, brothers and sisters. We have to build on the rock of love, brothers and sisters. You know, we have to let God Almighty, our Creator, be at the head of everything that we do. We have to pray, brothers and sisters. You know, well, anyway, I'm praying. You know, please, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm telling people what to do, but I tell you, brothers and sisters, I am praying, you know, and I am fasting. You know, yeah, I'm praying for a better world, fasting for a better world. The more of us that do that sort of thing, you know, is the better the world will become, because we're dealing with higher vibrations that man has no power over whatsoever. The power of our Creator, Almighty, Most High. You know, and yes, brothers and sisters, and the fact of the matter is, I understand, I heard that there's a calling for 1,000 drums in London. You know, Brother Clive from Taras and Brother Omar Wali and the other brothers, you know, they're calling out for 1,000 drummers in London to meet at various venues and to drum, you know, our way into sanity. Drum this society into sanity. You know, drum out and vanquish all, you know, all the negativity of society and bring in the positivity, you know, the power of the drum, brothers and sisters, you know, of the spirits of our ancestors. Yes, I'm grateful to be here, and in fact, we owe it to the spirits of our ancestors, you know, to return to Africa. You know, that's our motherland, that's our fatherland. You know, let's not be put off by, oh, Africa is not ready, or they don't like us, it's not developed enough, and this and that. You know, I personally am looking to make a move over there. You know, that's where I'm looking to go. Absolutely, brothers and sisters, because that's what our ancestors suffered and died for. You know, one day we would return. You know, and Marcus Garvey came along as well and showed us the way, and yet, you know, even that got sabotaged. But we don't give up, brothers and sisters, because we can achieve anything we imagine. And there's brothers over there in Africa and sisters living good, enjoying life and so on. And we can do the same. We are the creators that Africa awaits. Africa awaits its creators, and that's us. The lost children of Israel, that's us, brothers and sisters. Let's go home. We don't have to stay here. Let's unite and go home. From we're united, we can all go home. Instead of trying it individually, some people are having it harder than others. You know, some people would love to go to Africa to live, but they haven't got the fear, they haven't got the money, they haven't got this or that. But brothers and sisters, with love and unity, you know, we'll have more than enough money to cover everybody. But but brothers and sisters, I was going to say we. Yes, indeed, we must go home. We have to go home. I know it's hard. People think that, you know, I've laid my roots down here and this and that. There's no future here, brothers and sisters. not for us, the lost children of Israel. You know, we've been wandering all over the place. It's time for us to go home. All the signs are there. All the George Floyd business, that's just one of millions that's happened before that. How many times these sort of things have happened? How many, we don't even know the true figure of how many black people have been murdered, by white supremacists or whatever, or by maniacs, psychopaths that happen to be white and happen to be given authority to do these things. Or probably not given authority to do it, but actually being put in a position where they can do these things and more than likely get away with it. Yes, brothers and sisters, it's time for us to leave. Coronavirus, when it hit us, Africa was the least hit. It was the least hit. That alone points us in the direction to Africa. We must go home, brothers and sisters. We must go home. By the grace of the Most High, I'm going to be there. Yes, brothers and sisters, we're just going to roll along with another track here from the album X Gangsta's Odyssey. My First Flat. Remember that? My First Flat.
My first flat. In my first flat at Camberwell Green, where I lived from age 16, like a man in a boat lost at sea,
Right.
needing guidance from someone much older than me, but filled with anger, pride and pain. Asking for help would be insane. I knew Mammy would be there for me, more than anyone else could ever be. But prompted by my pride, I chose bad instead of good. Without a job, it was inevitable. The rent would be in arrears. Hence my descent into robbery, to wipe away my fears. I said, do it. I'll only do it just the once, simply to pay the bill. Then I'd get right back on track, using my legal skills. But one robbery turned to two, and two turned into three, and as three turned into four, the only thing that could stop me would be the slam of the prison door. My partner in crime was Titus, a bad boy from approved school. Oh yeah, he was bad alright, when he grasped on me like a fool. We ended up at the Old Bailey, in the infamous court number 1. After waiting in custody for 7 painful months, of each day I counted every one. Though found guilty, being of previous good character, I was allowed to go free. As Titus was recalled to Borstal, a young man I'd never see again, as he descended into the belly of the beast, accumulating over 30 years in jail. After the pain of prison, I said I'd never, ever return again, only to find myself reoffending and going to Borstal instead. I thought of Titus, but as I knew him to be a grass, he could no more be a friend. More robberies followed that led to my imprisonment at HMP Maidstone in Kent. My fraudulent acts grew and grew. I was a violent gangster, part of a criminal crew. a thing I thought I'd never, ever do. There were Jaguars, Vanden Plas, and fancy cars, made-to-measure suits, regular shopping on Bond Street, and throughout the West End, partying every night at the club, regardless of the expense. Relaxed, I listened to music at my leisure, while singing and songwriting continued to be my pleasure. With so many ladies I went to bed, memories to cherish in heart and head. Oh yes, I've carried a gun. Oh yes, I've carried a knife. But I thank God to this very day, I never, ever took a life.
Yes, brother. Yes, my first flat. Yes, my first flat. You know, yes, I've carried a gun. Oh yes, I've carried a knife, but I thank God to this very day, I never, ever took a life. Yes, and sincerely, I really mean it. I'm so grateful I never ever took a life. But there were many times when I wondered if I had taken a life. Yes, because the violence was so bad, terrible and dreadful, brothers and sisters. You know, I thank God it's only by the grace of God. You know, only by the grace of God. Yes, you can thump a man down and he fall down and hit his head and he never get up again. You know, violence has not got us anywhere, brothers and sisters. Dishonesty has not got us anywhere either, brothers and sisters. You know, it's kept us in this vicious circle, you know, of oppression, you know, oppression and all anger, you know, pain, you know, frustration, you know, yeah, guilt, shame, remorse, regret. You know, it's time for us to, you know, leave that phase and enter the phase of love and forgiveness. You know, with forgiveness, we let go of the past. There's no escaping that without forgiveness, brothers and sisters. It's the only way that I learned to let go of the past. Forgive and I don't forget, but I let go and move on, rather than still reliving something 10, 20, 30, 40 years later like as though it happened yesterday. That's no good, brothers and sisters. That means to say we're stuck in a rut, you know, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and physically. And these things only bring disease on the body as well. Resentment, anger, rage, you know, yeah. Serious thing, brothers and sisters. And you know, as what's going on here, as we know, you know, this knife and gun thing is really, as we all know, it's beyond madness. You know, there's no justification for it. It's an insanity. You know, we need to start cleaning up our homes, cleaning up our acts at homes as parents and grandparents, you know, and cousins and uncles and aunties and nieces and nephews. We need to clean up our act, you know, set a better example for each other. You know, mothers and fathers, we need to talk to our sons and daughters, have quality time, spend quality time with them, you know, get to know what they're feeling, you know. How do you feel? It's something which is not really discussed at home very much. You know, it's time for us to sit around the table together with our children and have meals and talk and have laughter and also have some really deep discussions, some honest discussions and debates. And yes, you know, bond together with honesty, with love, yeah, with compassion, caring for each other, you know. Yes, if you got 100 homes doing that, there's a big difference in society. You got 1,000 homes doing that, the difference just grows and grows and grows, brothers and sisters. But being selfish and arrogant and rude and don't give a thing about anybody else but myself and all this and that, these things may impress some people, but that doesn't help our situation, brothers and sisters. It compounds it. It makes it worse. You know, we have to abandon certain things because they don't work. All this rioting and all this violence and all this sort of thing, it hasn't worked, brothers and sisters. Riot, and then go back to what? Let us be a real living and true power that is respected on earth through love and unity. That's the only way it's done, brothers and sisters. Yes, indeed, brothers and sisters. So let's just, humble ourselves, absolutely. Where we need to ask for forgiveness, ask for forgiveness. Even if it's from your little child, ask for forgiveness, clean up, I had something which I was, didn't feel good about a little while back, and I just confessed that to the person in question who I, was thinking about that when I said, oh man, I wasn't very happy. God bless you. Blessed love. Yes, find your voice with From Rehab to Life. Yes, brother. Yes. Who am I talking to? Egan. Yes, brother. Yes, brother Egan. Blessed love. Thanks for calling in. Yes. What have you got to say for us, brother? Serious thing, brother Egan. Yes. Yes, Brother Egan, you know something, although I'm hearing you on the phone, I don't hear it going through the system here. And the engineer is not around at the moment to assist me in that. But I can relay what you've just said to our listeners, which is that Brother Egan is saying that a solution, well, one of the solutions to to the challenges that we face is the fact that we need to unite and buy black, support black businesses so that we build an economy that's so strong that we can all leave, if we so desire to leave this land here. And that also is the way for our youths, you know, who are so talented, and instead of murdering in each other or ending up in jail for all kind of nonsense, you know, at least they can be out there to help the businesses to grow, to take on the business, you know, to a higher level, you know, after mommy and daddy. Yes, brother, I can't hear nothing on the, yeah, and, you know, it's a shame that, you know, the people couldn't hear you. Yeah. But we're working on it, brother. We're working. We have the engineer here now, the controller. So we can continue with this conversation with... Yeah. Yes, Brother Egan, can you say something now?
Give thanks for that. And I'm tuning in, stay tuned. Everyone else stay tuned, and hopefully they'll ring in and offer solutions as well, because we need many solutions to our problems.
Many solutions is right, brother. You know.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear now, brother.
The engineer's done his work. Give thanks.
Yes.
Well, here's a point to make, right? Because if we was using equipment built by ourselves, maybe it wouldn't be as problematic. So when we're talking about the black economy, etc., this is what we need. We need people to develop businesses that offer us our own equipment and employment for our... Java.
Yes, brother. Yes,
right.
yes. I was just following some instructions. I beg your pardon. Can you repeat that again there, brother, please?
I just said that the technical problems we're having, maybe we wouldn't have them if we had a strong black economy and was producing this equipment for ourselves, which would also benefit us, all of us, and make sure that we can employ some of these young people who have turned to crack addiction and crime, etc.
Yes, brother.
And let them see that there are other opportunities and another way to go. I mean, the thing about it is that somebody who's running a, what is it called, county lines organization, he could be running a distribution service.
Absolutely, brother.
The same sort of mentality that he's, and the skill and the whatever he's used to put that criminal action together, he could actually be using that to do a legitimate business. That said, us who are older and etc., we need to set example, myself included, yourself included. We need to present. I mean, you're on this radio station. There's an opportunity for technicians and people who want to learn these things to come in there.
Work experience.
Yeah, that's right. Brother. So we need to, you know, as simple as that radio station seems, it can offer somebody, as you say, work experience. And if they're young, they'll go away and they'll make a £10 million business radio station. Because they're going to say, yeah, well, if that's what them elders done, I can do better. Absolutely. And we want to see them do better. I won't grudge them. If I make £1 and you make 10, give thanks. Just feed the children and everything will be fine.
Yes, brother. We've got to feed the children with love and with support, with care, with compassion, with patience, you know, and with tenacity. you know, and with courage and with honesty. You know, yes, we need to feed them all these good things, and you know, so that they.
Well, Brother Tamara, I have to leave now because I've got to join a little meeting. So, give
Okay,
thanks
brother.
to 0-326-834.
We want to repeat that, brother.
07950-326-834.
Thank you very much, brother. God bless you. Have a blessed evening. Hope the meeting is very fruitful, very positive, strengthening. You know, so you know, we can just rise up and go to a better place, brother, than where
Well,
we're
it's a
at,
business meeting, so hopefully I'll make my contribution to the drive for us to have a strong black economy.
Yes, brother.
All right, my brother. Take care. Stay blessed.
Blessed love. Give thanks.
Take care.
More love. Yes, yes, everybody, brothers and sisters. 073 772 27505. That's the number to call. Any solutions to help us with what's going on. Blessed love. Yes, brother.
Greetings, it's a excellent show.
Greetings, brother. Oh, is that DJ Jammers?
That's correct, yeah.
Wow, yes, DJ Jammers. Good to hear your voice, brother.
Yeah, and it's an inspiring conversation. I think even a career in being a radio presenter, I think it's recruiting, you know.
Say that again?
I think even from the same school has got a career in radio presenting.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yes, yeah, they'll be training for aspiring, you know, radio presenters. Yes, brother, that is definitely on the cards. You know, it's beautiful, beautiful. So, you got any solutions for us, brother, you know, in these challenging times of confusion and chaos and
we've got to look to the works of our ancestors. All us can save ourselves from what is going on. We can't expect others to provide solutions when, you know, their history and evidence show that they've never had a solution for us. You know, they've never had a way that we can compete with them on even keel, intellectually, financially, spiritually.
Yes.
You know, so that these people have never put us. Well, no, it's a natural species that every animal looks after themselves first.
Yes, yes, yes.
Every species looks after.
But tell me something. Do these animals harbor like you know, so much that, you know, to leave the other animals starving? No. You know, or do they rather burn the food? I've heard of food mountains being thrown into the sea or burnt just to keep food prices up, rather than send it to Africa or India or anywhere where there is hunger. Because it's right here in London. I see people looking in dustbins in London here, you know, scraping up for food. You know, so yeah, we look after each other. We look after self first, but you know, but does that excuses from, you know, from our duty to help our brother?
Well, the thing is, we can't be listening to the dialogue of someone who is leading for our destruction. You know,
yes.
We have to find our own solution, and that's by tapping into the wisdom that we already have.
Yes.
You know, for some reason, it's like we've diverted and thrown aside the great works of Dr. Lala Afrika Sabi, you know, Martin Luther King, Dr. Amos Wilson. They've had templates of what we are supposed to be doing. If you look what's happening in the 60s, they've made further strides than we are making now.
So you're saying the way that we tap into this is by reading up on Martin Luther King, on Malcolm X, and all these great men, Nkrumah, Marcus Garvey, you know, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie the First, and so on. Is that what you're saying? We ought to read up our...
No, that's the problem that we've been having, because we're too busy reading up and intellectualizing. We're not actually acting. We're not putting these theories to the test.
Yes.
You know, where we can see what works for us in the day that we're living in, the time we're living in, and how we can expand. It's just like a TV. If they just watch the black and white TV and develop it, there would be no color TV. There'd be no internet. There'd be no smartphone. You see, so we have to actually put it into practice.
Yes, and how do you? And this seems to be where we're lacking is the follow through. You know, because we're good at the talking in the meeting and showing solidarity in the meetings, but after we leave the meetings, it's like as though everything goes back to where it was before. Yes. You know, the follow through. How do we do that, brother? Any suggestions how? Because this is something that we really, you know, we find a solution to that, brother. You know, how do we follow through with all these brilliant ideas and aspirations that we've got, with all the truths that we've got, you know, coming back from our ancestors? You know, a lot of us are in tune with our ancestors. We know what to do, and yet we are still just talking rather than acting.
Well, the thing is, the problem is the person that's got us, or the environment, they've got us in a comfort zone, you know. And it's like, you know, we're entertained by the media, the sports, the films, the books, the clothes, the cars, the health service provided by others, the water supply, the schooling system. Yeah. We've become comfortable. It's just like somebody used to be like a good runner, but stopped training.
Yes.
You know? So the spirit is weak now.
Yes, it's dumbed down. Yes. So do you suggest that we stop watching TV and we stop running after Armani and Gucci and you know, and we stop you know, listening to all these adverts and turn our heads away and switch off ourselves away from all these adverts that are attacking us, all this media coverage that's attacking us? I mean, how do we escape that? Well, I myself, I've thrown out my TV from the 70s. I don't keep a TV, to be honest with you. But how do we let go of all these vanities that we've grown accustomed to, brother?
Well, the thing is, because I know you're dealing with it, it's just like an addiction. So the same way that you pull yourself away from addiction, you know, it's the same way you have to deal with what is this comfort zone that we're in. I mean, you can't just pull away just like that. What you have to do is replace it little by little with your own energy. Yes. We have the ability to energize anything that we do, to raise our own spirit.
Yes.
We've been trained how to act in reverse.
Yes.
Where we've been trained now to get an emotion, an external trigger to give us the emotion that we already have.
And that is not really right. We need to have an internal figure to really help to set us free from our addiction rather than an external figure. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the perfect story related to this. You'll be feeling down, can't say breathing, you know, you're frowning, you're worried, you're weak, and then you'll see a piece of paper on the floor with a 50 pound written on it, and all of a sudden you're jumping for joy, all your sorrows have gone.
Yes.
So we'll see a piece of paper with a sign on it, and all of a sudden we generate extreme ecstasy, happiness, joy. What is the happiness, the ecstasy and joy? We're generating that. The paper's not giving us that feeling. We're generating the feeling because of the paper. We have that feeling already.
Yes. So really, it's not the bling that make me look good. It's me that make the bling look good. It's not the car that make me look good. It's me that make the car look good. It's not the house that make me look good. It's me that make the house look good. Yes, brother, and that is the restoration to sanity. Thank you, brother. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that, brother. So in other words, we've got to change our thinking.
And another thing is we've lost our identity, our ID, our operation, how we operate, our functionality.
identity, how we function.
Mm.
You know, once you've lost your identity and you don't know how to drive your own car,
Ah, yes.
you're at the mercy of somebody who's telling you how you're supposed to be.
Yes, 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 yes. You're like a...
Science shows that
Mm.
everything, when you look in the universe, everything is in perpetual darkness.
So in other words, we're like leaves blowing in the wind, or like trees without roots, you know, because we're just being carted here and there, moved from one place to the next. It's like as though we're just following this, following that. Like we're not like a tree that is planted by the river of water.
Exactly, because a tree without roots literally believes. Believe. You don't
Believe.
have beliefs. No, nothing. No shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You,
So one thing I like to say is we have to look at Africa. First, we have to know what we really are. You know?
uh-huh.
This race is categorized by our memory.
Right.
That is what categorized us as being. I mean, when the Germans split it up, because there was no race before, but they split it up into 5 departments. Our department is based on our melanin content. The
Yes.
melanin content is your intelligence to absorb information at one with nature, more than any other species on the planet. That's why we can outperform anybody on the planet in anything that we've given an equal opportunity to undertake, even if there's only one of us, like in Formula One driving, like in golf, like in tennis, you know, running. So we
Yes.
have that intelligence to absorb information, that is to take in information, where other races will more have a lesser ability to undertake information. And if you have at the lower scale of melanin, then you repel. Your ability is not to absorb, it's to reflect information.
Right. Indeed.
So our capacity is our working formula is different from any other species on the
Indeed, brother. I get where you're coming from. This is why we've got all the pollution on the planet, because they don't give a damn, because they're not in tune with the planet, with the trees and the water and the seas and the earth, you know, contaminating the earth, wind, even the fires. You know, when they throw all their chemicals in there and all the rest of it, causing all sorts of destruction, not only to the planet, but to the animal life and to human life, you know, and which goes even further, as you said, it goes, you know, affecting us spiritually, mentally, and physically, and emotionally, and financially, psychologically, intellectually, creatively, my Lord. And yet, we, the people of Menelin, still, you know, seem to cause them to marvel at us, you know, and to attack, because they say, well, you know, we're still here. We're still striving in our oppressed condition, you know, in our position of disadvantages that are inhuman and beyond belief. You know, it's all comprehension. Brother, you know, we're walking miracles, but somehow, yes, brother.
Well, the thing is, the knowledge is there. It's there, right?
Yes.
And the thing is, if you got plumbing, you can get an electrician in. You know, if you got to your car, you can bring a barber in to solve to fix your car. You know, so a patient would not get a mosquito about a mosquito doesn't know about which a bird, a camel doesn't know.
Right. Brother, it's like as though this thing is cutting up here. Your voice is cutting up.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, that's much better, yes. Much better. Could you repeat what you just said? Because, boy, all I heard was, you know, I didn't get anything. So I guess the listeners didn't get anything either. Hello, can you hear me? I can't hear you now, brother. You were so clear just now. And no, I don't hear a thing. DJ Jammers, are you there? Heal, brother, heal. Okay, brothers and sisters, we'll go into the next track from my album Ex Gangsters Odyssey, with all proceeds going to From Rehab to Life Foundation, steering our youths and our communities away from drug and alcohol addiction, violence, and crime. Blessed love, oh, we got a call here, so let's answer the call. Blessed love, brother. Hello, is that DJ Jammers? Hello. Hello, brother. I'm listening. Yes, I can hear you good. Can you say something else? Hello.
No problem.
Wow.
Me?
Yeah, I heard you, and then so clearly, and then suddenly, I can't hear anything. Hello? Brother DJ Jammers. Hello. Brother? Yes, engineer, we need your help here, please. We can't hear Brother DJ Jammers on the line.
Jammers got a Tesco mobile, that's why.
Oh, DJ Jammers, the engineer said you need to upgrade your phone.
Yeah, but Tesco mobile, Virgin, they're no good. There's nobody there.
Oh, he's gone. Okay. All right, brother. Call back, DJ Jammers. Call back if anything. Yes, brothers and sisters, I was really enjoying that talk there with DJ Jammers. Some real positive stuff.
Dishonesty and violence.
Okay. Yes, brother DJ Jammers. Hello, brother DJ Jammers. Is that you? DJ Jammers. See, we're trying to get through here. The connection is...
Jammers.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can't.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
All right, go on, keep talking.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, through the phone.
I know what it is. Somebody's been pulling the wire.
Oh,
Somebody's been pulling the wire. I've got to clip it down.
okay.
All right, you just go on. What are you saying, Jay?
Yes, can you hear me now?
I can hear you on the phone. Go on, just keep talking.
Right, yes. All I was saying, you never get a plumber to do an electrician's
Right.
work.
Truly.
You never have a cat listen to what.
You never have a cat?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just keep talking. Go on.
If an antelope relied on a lion to look after it, it'll only be the lion's next meal. You have to tap into yourself
Yes.
to know your operating system.
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't even know how to tap into themselves. How do they do that?
Well,
Any
it-
pointers? Any pointers?
The basics is, if you study like the works of Lola Africa, basically the universe, the highest form of the highest form is based on melanin content. The melanin content gives you ability to surpass anybody else on the planet. The whole universe is in perpetual darkness. So it's the dark matter that is the dominant feature in all energy, all life forms.
Yeah.
Everything comes from the dark matter. So anything closest to that dark matter has the highest form of relationship with the universe, with nature.
Yes.
Light is the creation of friction. So everything from light is friction.
Mm-hmm.
We're living in perpetual darkness, perpetual dark matter. All movement is based on friction. So light is the friction that is formed from movement.
Yes. So that are you saying that because we are people of melanin, we are naturally we have that natural ability to go in ourselves and find the solutions within ourselves. We don't need any instructions. It's already there. We're already built that way. You know, we have the melanin that just makes us that way naturally.
What it is, you see, we have the ability to generate our own energy without any external triggers.
Right.
It's called feeling. So basically, if you have something in a hot planet, from a hot planet, it's in tune with nature. When you put something in the fridge, it loses its ability to feel.
That's right.
It
It's
loses
numb.
its heat. It becomes numb.
Yeah.
So based on the genetic coding of the people who come from the colder regions of the planet,
Yeah.
they have lost that ability to generate and generate their own spirit, their energy.
Right.
So they use triggers. They use like food, clothing, killing, sports to generate energy. It's like they need a host to do it. This is how they operate.
Yeah.
We have the ability to generate internal energy called feeling.
Feeling, yes. That's why we're very emotional people.
Yes, but we give emotional out rather than put out, which is our ability to generate feeling. We've been trained to give out emotion, which is giving energy to everybody other than ourselves.
Yes, yes.
That's why we're always putting our hand out. No matter how many times we get beaten or traumatized, we're putting out our hand to give away our energy. You know? We make they talk about the almighty, but we make the almighty.
Yes.
We have the golden touch.
Yes, yes.
If we pick up a pair of trainers, that's $1 billion industry. If we use a hair product, that's $1 billion industry.
Yes.
Anything we touch, other people monetize it.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'd just like to say one thing, right? So when we tap into our own knowledge, like there's a dialogue going out by the oppressor saying that we have less vitamin D, so this makes us more susceptible to this coronavirus.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But if you look into the research and finish the sentence and know the essence of who we are, we have less vitamin D because we use vitamin D more efficiently. Like a high performance car, we need less vitamin D to function. That's why we have thick bones, because bones is based on vitamin D. So the scientists couldn't work out how can we have less vitamin D but have not such bones.
Would you suggest that we still top up on our vitamin D supplements because we don't get much sun over here? I mean,
yes,
you know.
We still need to top up our vitamin D. We still need to. The essence of we do need to top up our vitamin D.
Yeah.
We do need to eat the right foods. We do need to maintain our immunity system.
Yeah.
But what they're doing, they're setting us up by saying that we have we are more susceptible because of our lack of vitamin D. So we can be the first guinea pigs on the law that they've passed. To say as vulnerable people, you know, we'll be the first people to be tested on the vaccines for this virus. So it's a setup for us to fall into the psychological trap of running to be a guinea pig for somebody else. The real reason we are getting contaminated is because we've been placed in economic positions or as key workers, or being our lack of finance and lack of the hospital facilities. We've been strategically placed in environments where we're susceptible to this.
Yes, brother Jammers. You know, are you saying that as as melanin people, we can see what's going on, and yet we're just sort of allowing it to happen? Or we seem to feel, or some of us, well, I've heard it echoed that, we can't do nothing. Them have all the weapons. Them have the weapon them up there in the sky. Them have weapon in the bottom of the sea. Them have weapon upon land. What weapon we have? You know what I mean? We can't fight them. People feel there's a lot of hopelessness. I've met a lot of people filled with hopelessness. You know, they've a state of submission to as though things cannot and will never change. I mean, do you share? Well, obviously you don't share that view with what you've been saying. So how do we get these people to wake up?
Well, I'll just tell you a story before I answer that quickly. There was a story of two jackals and a lion was chasing towards it, seeing it as the next meal. As the lion got closer to the two jackals, it noticed the jackals weren't running. So when the lion reached up to them, I'm telling this in the voice of how Dougie would put it across, because I'm walking in the footsteps of Brother Dougie. So when the lion got to the jackals, it was like, how comes you ain't running from me? And the jackals turned around and said, well, you would have caught us anyway.
In other words, fear not, fret not. And that's the,
If something's going to get you, it's going to get you. Are you going to go out on your knees, or are you going to go out standing on your 2 feet?
absolutely. Well, you know, I just hear the word fear here, and fear not, and that's the best way to be, no matter what. You know, just stand your ground, fear not. There's nothing to fear.
We need
And
to
it's,
get our spirit back. You know, we've come through slavery didn't touch us.
yeah,
You know, the killing of our ancestors didn't touch us. Are we going to let a
That's
common
right.
cold take us out? No, I say we ain't going out like that. I'm going out swinging.
so,
You know?
so
Swinging for the children, swinging for the youngsters, swinging for our mothers, swinging for the memory of our ancestors, swinging for the memory of Lala Africa, Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie. I'm not taking out a person who's always been contaminated and giving us germs. The person who always had the germs.
Yes.
I'm not going to start listening to them. You
So
know, I'm
how-
doing to myself.
how would
and
you
to others.
how would you advise our brothers and sisters to let go of the fearing this and fearing, or you know, all their machinations of mass destruction and so on? I mean, you know, and that feeling of hopelessness. How would you encourage them to let go of the fear? What path would you lead them? You know, what what instructions, what directions could you give them? Guidance in that way.
Well, the first thing is fear breaks down your immunity system. So if you want to even survive whatever, you don't know what is coming, the first thing you have to do is strengthen your immunity system.
Yes.
The way you strengthen your immunity system is you start to have to take in information that is of your benefit. Information of the right food, something that's going to strengthen you, you know, information of the right food, you know, information of knowledge of how you can improve yourself. But what it is, your mind calculates what's put in front of it. That's how the mind works. So if you put like a horror movie in front of your brain, your mind's only going to absorb in fear.
Yes.
If you listen to a record or artist that you love performing, your body's going to, because we absorb information, you see, so we have to be careful what we give ourselves to. In front, it's like food for thought.
Yes.
You see, so whatever food you put in front of your mind, that's what it's going to consume, and you're going to even get toxins from what. So that's why we have to be really careful what we give our attention to, because anything that we give attention to, we empower it.
Yes, indeed. You remind me of a thing I heard, you know, about being in the Garden of Eden, and Adam and Eve were told, you know, don't even look at that tree, never mind, and don't even touch it neither. You know what I mean? Because just to touch it is a temptation, to look at it is a temptation, and worst of all, do not eat from it. It says so. So there appears to be different, stages and phases of temptation, of distraction. You know, there's the distraction of touch, the distraction of seeing, or the distraction of listening. You know, there's so many different types of distractions going on, brother. Indeed.
And we have to inspire our youngsters, as what Brother Egan was saying. So then, you know, we need to look in the eyes and the faces of our youngsters and see, are we giving them hope or are we giving them despair? You know, because they're looking at us to see how we're going to deal with what's around us. And are we for the family? You know, are we going to be spineless? Are we have a backbone? You know, so we have to really look at our youngsters, our mothers, our fathers' eyes, the elderly, look into their eyes and do for them something that's going to give them hope.
Absolutely.
It could be a smile. It could be the way you talk to them, the look. Praise raises. You know, so that's what we have to do. We've got to turn off this dialogue of something that you can't control. If it's there, as I said in the story, it's going to get you. It's going to get you. You can't do nothing about an unseen enemy.
Brother.
All you can do is fix your family.
Absolutely, brother. It starts at home. Yeah, we've got a question coming up.
Yo, greetings, Jammers. Well, go on.
Greetings. Good to hear your voice. Good to hear your voice.
Well, go on, Jammers. How you been?
I'm feeling fine. I'm generating my own energy. This is what we need to. We need to start to. Now is the time.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Yeah? And then after that, we can talk about the pea soup. Yeah. Okay. Right. Question is this: since this lockdown everybody thinks they're still on a lockdown. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, since they kind of think that they're telling people that they've opened it up, but they haven't. What changes or difference have you seen in our people, and what changes or difference have you seen in the Caucasian people since they've kind of eased off of the lockdown? What changes, have you seen any changes in our people, and have you seen any changes in them?
Right. The first thing I'd like to say, I've seen the changes in our youngsters, that they've coming together for a common cause without the postcode. They're generating. It's really inspiring to see how the youngsters are moving together. Okay, they might not be moving in right directions or right guidance, but they're moving together, and I can see that there's a community vibe now coming together with our youngsters. You know.
Okay, what have you seen now in other races towards us since this thing's changed?
Well, what I've seen is like this whole thing is a manipulation of us.
Yeah.
We're being manipulated by this situation. Other people are using it for their own agendas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the first thing. They're using our situation for their own agenda. Every move that they make, it seems like we're associated with the move. If it's for introducing the vaccine, they want to do it because they say we are more susceptible.
Yeah, but I'm talking about on road. Let's talk about on road. Let's talk about on road in general.
Oh, okay. Okay, on road.
Yeah.
Well, on road, I see that basically when the lockdown was on, the richer communities, they're not using the mask. They're still living outside of the London areas.
Mm-hmm.
They're still living a normal lifestyle, even when the lockdown's on.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain races of people that are walking around without the masks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're even the police. They don't have this lockdown mentality in them. They're not walking around with this lockdown. It seems like we're walking around in fear. You know, fear.
Mm.
Like a muzzled animal, like a well-trained animal.
Right, because the question why I'm asking this, there's 2 points to the question why I'm asking this. One, think about the answer to this question. Since the lockdown, have you ever seen one policeman with a mask on?
No.
Good question, isn't it?
Very good question. Excellent question. And this is one of the questions that we need to be asked.
Why not? And they're supposed to be upholding the law. And the government says, wear a mask. Their boss says that.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, okay, then let's hear what... But then, have you ever seen one policeman listening to the instruction of their boss?
No. And they are riding in cars together. You know, they're grouped in cars together.
They're in vans together.
In close proximity to each other.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen them wearing the masks. Even the politicians, you know, these are supposed to be leading by example. Not seen them with the masks on.
Right. So this is something that we need to think about. Yeah. Because with this vaccine, this testing, yeah, the vaccine has not been tested. It hasn't been certified. They haven't got no concrete proof that this is the cure. Yeah. But yet they want to give it to people.
Mm-hmm.
But they themselves is not going to take it.
No.
Right. So then I said, well, if you're gonna tell the doctors, well, you're gonna give people this injection under whatever name you want to call it, yeah, but yet it hasn't been tested. But people are going to get this vaccine, thinking that it's gonna keep them immune from this thing, but they're not telling you it's the cure. It's a test.
Yes.
So that means you are actually signing up to be a guinea pig.
Exactly.
Now, supposing it don't work and there's side effects, then who's responsible? No one.
No.
Right. So I'm just bringing up these points so that our people can be focused and make the right decision. Yeah, because it seems to me that they're trying to force people to take this thing that hasn't been tested.
Yes.
And that alone is then what are we supposed to be? The white mice, or what you call the black mice.
100%. That's what it's. But this is what they always do.
Yeah.
One thing I like to add to that, yeah. The lawmaker never makes the law to apply for themselves. They make the laws for the people they class below them to follow.
Okay, and they do not follow the same law that they enforce.
They do not. The law is not created to restrict them. It's to restrict others entering their circle.
Okay. Steep though, but it's something to think about. So, my experience, I've had a couple of experience lately since this lockdown, since people has been coming out, and I've realized there's a lot of white people that can't wait for I to say hello, good morning. Oh, how are you? Oh, thank you. And then there's some that is just totally the opposite. You know what I mean? Like an example, I went into a shop and there's a line. You know how they got the big gap thing. So I was in the line. I put my goods on the counter. I said, oh my gosh, I forgot something. So I said, can I go and get this thing? He goes, okay. I went away, come back to the counter. A white man said, right there. I go, I'm going to get paid for the stuff what I've got. And he's going to me, oh, I'm in the queue, get in the queue. I go, pardon? I go, I'm in the queue, get in the queue. I said, you're telling me to get in the queue? I go, okay. I go, so you never see me? And he's kind of giving me one bad look. So the man at the counter turned around and said to him, oh, he was before you. The look on the white man's face when he realized that he was in the wrong. Not even an apology. You understand? And I said to myself, you see, this is what we're up against now. Those who don't like, they're going to blatantly let you know they don't like. You got some that are afraid because they don't know if we're going to be racist towards them. Yeah, and there's some that understand and overstand our situation and want to help. I done a research the other day, Jammers, which is very, very important for us to know as black people, yeah? There's a white lady, and she's white, her children are white, her grandchildren are white, her mother is white, her grandmother is mixed race, and her grandfather is Jamaican. But all of her family and her grandchildren are white. Now, why I'm saying this is because there's a lot of white people that is on the streets that actually have black grandparents. And they know this. In Wales, do you know the history of Wales, of how the army, in World War II, all the black army man then was sent to Wales, and they end up being accepted by the Welsh people because there wasn't no racism that tough at that time in World War II. So they accepted the black people and they embraced them. But the American soldiers that was with them, which is the white American soldiers, still treated them as if they was in America.
Right.
And the white people in Wales clocked this and took in the black soldiers and looked after them. That's why Wales are proud of their black connection. Right, so there's a lot of army man them that is basically breed up the whole of Wales, yeah? And these Welsh people, if you go and look at them, they hold seminars, they hold meetings of their black ancestors, but there's no black people there.
Right.
Now this shows you that the people in power who has our name and our titles, this is how they get it. Because we was already there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when they said, come back to the motherland, I said to myself, why are they telling us it's the motherland? And the only reason I can come up with the answer is, it is our land. We was there. And they did take us away from there and brought us into slavery from here also. And why are you going to call this our motherland if it's not our motherland? So maybe they're telling you the truth. That this country is your motherland. You was here first. Think about that.
Yeah. And there's books to back that up as well. Other books that, the Celts in Britain.
Yeah.
The Scottish Moors, everything, we were the original settlers in the place.
Okay. So now moving forward, where do we go from here? Because you have black people that's mixed with white. one of the most famous black men on the planet, Bob Marley, black and white. You understand what I'm saying? So when we're looking at racism, yeah, and what's going on and how they're trying to undermine us and pressure us and try to put us under, enough of them don't want to admit that they got black blood in them. Without black blood, they wouldn't be alive today. Yeah, they wouldn't. So it's something that I put to you to say, what's your opinion of this white generation who has black ancestors and black generation who have white ancestors, but yet now we're here today in loggerheads? What do we do? Where do we go from here? Because as I said, some of these people embrace it and some of them don't. So where do we go from here?
Well, AJ, you know AJ Rogers, yeah?
Yeah.
AJ Rogers say about sex and races. The sex thing is always going to come in. You know, you might want to maintain, you know, your black heritage, but your youngsters or whatever, through the sex, you know, races intermingle. See, but the thing about it is, the real thing is a class and a power struggle. It's a power of land, wealth, and property. That's what the real fight is over. The colour thing is a subterfuge of what the real fight is about.
Oh, I don't know.
Because the elites who run the banking system,
Yeah.
you know, who own the property, they're obsessed with power, wealth. They create this race thing to keep us distracted from what is really going on. You see, and it's acquiring wealth, power, money, and the ability to be able to define your own future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Certain societies who lost the war, like Germany and China, lost the war, lost everything. They built themselves back up because everybody's against. They realized everybody's against them, so they had to fix up their own community. What they managed to get was respect. You see, so when a group comes together and does for itself, it gets respect. No matter what happens, you have to get respect. And respect is a source of power. When one of our melanated people exceeds in talent, like Muhammad Ali, you know, like Pele, like Michael Jackson, Sammy Davis Jr., Whitney Houston, when the talent, it overrides the racism. The racism's still there, but talent defines power. So we have to look towards, like in answer to your question, building something for ourselves. Something, either in a food chain, you know, helping the elderly, you know, making a fashion of our own. But we have to come together as a whole. That is where it breaks down all the time. We have to start to see the mentality that we have to do one thing for ourselves and own it.
Okay. Because as I said, I was just bringing that point up.
No, it's a serious point, because this is what's keeping everybody. This is confusing distraction, because, as you said, you know, they are our heritage is mixed up with their heritage is mixed up with ours, and it causes a whole lot of different dynamics to what is going on. And of course, what they're using, of course, as I say, they're using. It's another caste system, the coronavirus now. They're sending a message out to their people, the incident that you said in the shop, that black people now are second-class citizens because they're most likely to get the coronavirus. So it's a psychological message that they're sending up to their people and to our people, that if you see a black person now, they are more to be contaminated. So they set up a new caste system based on this so-called disease, like the disease as an intellect to tell a person's color and go for a person who has more melanin than a person who has less melanin. I don't know any form of disease that has that kind of intelligence at work. Okay. And if you look at the figures, Africa as a whole continent has less cases of coronavirus than the UK and America.
Supreme.
So,
Yeah.
How you doing?
All right.
Okay, welcome. Supreme meet Jammers. Jammers meet Supreme.
all right. Greetings.
Go on, Supreme.
I like the way you done that.
Yeah, you don't know I go one step ahead like Duracell.
Yeah, so yeah, greetings to everyone. Tamara,
Yes, brother.
and I was very much prompted to call when Egan was on the phone.
Yeah.
And I think you asked a question about the community and business.
That was you.
Yeah.
That was wait, because I've been trying to call, but the line just seems to be engaged, you know?
Don't worry, we've got another line. I'm going to give you that number as well, so you can just call through onto the next line if you need to.
Yeah, well, basically, you know, this is my personal opinion. I think that we are just not organized. And we're a long way from being organized.
Okay.
Because it was one of the questions that you and Egan was trying. He was saying he's going to a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, all I keep hearing, let's say for the past 30 years, is they're going to meetings, they're going to do this. We're going to meetings, we're going to do that. You know, so I'm just saying the reason why we're in a so-called mess is because I just believe that we're not organised.
All right, then. So if we're not organised, yeah, as we've been like this since we've been at school, we've been hearing the same song.
Yeah.
Our parents has been telling us the same song and so forth.
Yeah.
Now we've reached this point here, which we know, as I will call it, we'll reach a River Jordan.
Yeah.
We've left Egypt. Egypt throw us out.
Yeah.
Now we reach a River Jordan. Some people's gonna go back because they can't do without the weave, they can't do without the lifestyle, they can't do without certain things. Some of them are gonna go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of us are gonna go forward.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the situation that we're in. We're at this crossroad, or I call it the valley of decision.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? Where is the central point? Yeah, because there ain't no leader. We need a government of our own.
The reason why there's no leaders is because, number one, people keep paraphrasing and the rhetoric of the past. Leaders, your Malcolm X's, your Martin Luther King's, your Marcus Garvey, and they laid their lives. That was their lives. And currently now, a lot of people will paraphrase what they've said, but they're not going to put their life on the line.
Okay. So,
they're
not. Would you put your life on the line for your people?
You know what? Let me tell you something. The thing is that I do not see the support. I hear a lot of angry individuals, but I don't see the support. Do you get what I mean? And, I just hear a lot of angry individuals, and there's a point where if you don't come over intelligent and all you're doing is being angry, that means all you do is you're angry at every issue and you're not dealing with it. And I'm going to say this, hopefully, well, it's just my opinion, but there's a lot of organizations that have given themselves titles, and currently right now, everybody's bashing Black Lives Matters. Now, they've come up with, and I think they're just distracting themselves and distracted us because they haven't done what they're supposed to do. So they're going to fight the current person who's in the media or what is highlighting now. Because all the years of their organizations, they haven't reached this what we can say, this moment. And now this moment has come. I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear us?
Yeah.
Cool. You're nosy, ain't you? You're nosy, man. You're nosy.
No, man, you have to tap microphone, pick up everything. Yeah? That's why it's called a microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, but that is my point, is that there are a lot of people out there, angry individuals, and we're not moving forward. We're standing and running on the spot. And I don't want to mention no names, but some of these organizations have been asking for money, asking you to give them donations and now it's just like the church roof. It's never ever going to get fixed because they need to be accounted what's going on. Because right now I'm thinking I can't hear these organisations or see them. But what I see is people saying Black Lives Matter is lesbian, it's this and this man. And I'm saying you're supposed to use this opportunity to rise.
So are you suggesting that there's a lot of people out there have just turned this, commercializing this Black Lives Matter, turning it into a business where people are actually making money? Are they getting paid to run these different, what do you call it, quangos or whatever of Black Lives Matter, and they're lining their pockets and nothing really happening? Just talk.
No, what I'm saying is that Black Lives Matter, right, is currently the talking point at the moment.
Right.
But we have issues in our communities that other groups have been dealing with for so long, and this is their opportunity to rise and raise and move with their platform. But what's happening is people are just throwing stones, or they're not dealing with what they set out to do. They're more like fighting Black Lives Matter, which is silly to me. This is a very good opportunity for any grassroots organisation to step up. Do not fight.
Yes.
Do not go. Look at it this way. You have two football teams, yeah? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You can have a football team with all the best players. Yeah?
Yeah.
But the team that's going to win is the one that plays like a team.
Team
and the one that's organised.
Yes, bro.
You could have the worst players, but if you tell every player, stay in your position, this is what we're going to do, stick to the plan, that team is going to win. But when you've got a team full of superstars and everybody wants to score a goal and everybody wants to do everything, they're not going to be a team. They could be the best at what they do, but they're not going to play as a team.
So we're talking about unity here. If we can be united, then we can. That is the step we need to fulfill here. The unification of our community, the unification of our brothers and sisters. Otherwise, nothing ain't happening, because without that, we've got no strength without unity.
And Egon, we talk about black business and black economics as if we're wounded, like, the black pound. And you know what? A lot of people are going to say, this spend for one day? You should have been spending all the time.
Absolutely, brother.
Absolutely. So if you now don't spend on one day, okay, what's going to happen the next day? You're going to just spend more than you did because you saved them the day before.
Yes, but
we have become so complacent and looking through things convenient.
Don't we need? Go on, brother. Go on.
No, I'm just saying that.
Well, the thing is, do you think we need more shops, more black businesses? Do we have enough to fulfill our needs? In all the different areas that we need to go shopping in.
Tamra.
Yeah.
Natty. Jammers. You see, currently right now, if you've got a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a shop nowadays. Everything is online. It's e-commerce. You do not need a shop. So physically, people want to see a shop and go, no. People now just go online, and if you've got Amazon, they go on Amazon. It gets delivered to their door probably the next day or within a couple of days. So we there's no excuses now. You do not need a building in with any product now. And a lot of businesses, even of different colour, are not going to be around after this COVID. Because the high street, we don't need. Technically, you do not need the high street.
You just need.
You just need it for food.
Yeah, but Tesco, Sainsbury's come to your door.
Yeah, but they don't sell our food.
Yeah, but you just hit the man on the pot. Look at what you just said. Then you sell our food.
Online?
Yes.
Listen, you see, with us black people, we don't want dash for things, you know. We don't want to invest in a big 200, 300 pound worth of yam and it stay there rotten. And our people go to the...
No.
We don't want that.
No.
We kind of think...
Listen. And there was a brother who was doing this. He's got his van.
And he delivers.
And he's got his provisions.
Yeah.
And if you look at the old school way, the van goes down the road, he rings the bell, the community come out, they look on the truck, yeah, I love that. It's the same principle online. You could say, oh, every Thursday, this truck is coming with provisions and we'll be at Phillip Lane at this time.
Okay.
You could go and meet that van and go on the truck and say, yeah, let me feel the yam, if you want to do that. Because that's the same as Tesco's online.
Jammers. Do you remember when we used to have our people used to come to our house and deliver hard dough, bread and bun?
Yes, our parents, was that was the part of the system.
Right, we had a system when in the 50s, 60s and 70s where we used to deliver to our own.
Yeah.
Right, and it was the division and the separation from us and different races where we only could trust each other, while we end up setting up this thing where we had bread delivered to our house, we had food delivered to our house by our people. Yeah. So we need to go back as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. We've got to go back to how that first format that we used when we first came here of the Windrush. That format there.
Template.
Yeah, that template there. That's what we need. Yeah.
I'm going to say, it's not we need to go back. We need to develop what we started, right?
Yeah.
And bring it up to date.
What do you say, Jammers?
Well, there's so much areas that have been discussed, so
I can hear you.
Which particular point did you want me to comment on?
You got to speak up, bro.
The thing about it is, we have to have, if you put like too much milk in black coffee, it becomes you no longer can see it's black coffee anymore. Mm-hmm. What happened with most of the successful organisation individuals? It's like they had a back to get against the wall mentality when they thought it was an outcast or when they stuck together. What's happened with us? We've integrated so much into other communities, other events, other people that we've lost our sense of doing things for ourselves. We don't trust each other, we don't do our own school. So this is the mentality that we've adopted now, and our young generation has adopted that we're assimilating with everybody, so we haven't even got our identity of ourselves again. But through this situation that's happening now, hopefully there'll be a change in the parameter of consciousness where people are thinking, it's like the whole system is against us. We have to band together and do something. I can see the signs in the youngsters are getting together, but they haven't. There's nothing constructive for them to actually use that energy for. You see, so it's a shift in consciousness that we need to be organising ourselves in a way that we are self-sufficient. So that is the first battle, is the battle of the consciousness. And it is going back to that mentality that our parents had when they came over, is to build things for yourself.
Self-sufficient.
And the thing about the Black Lives Matters, I would like to say, is if you're not at the steering wheel, no matter how much the bus looks pretty and you're shouting and singing in the bus, the driver's going to take you to their destination, no matter how much you want to support this thing. And the fact Black Lives Matters, as it's documented, is a lesbian organisation, and it's funded by the Democratic Party. So basically it's a government organisation that is not for the black family, it's transgenders and lesbians. It's not for the straight black male. So it is actually for the destruction of, it's a clever ploy to destroy the black family while making millions from the cause, because all the money, all the donations is going to the funders of it, and is going to the Democratic Party and the Lesbian Party and the transgender. This is what's happened here, is the destruction of the name black has been hijacked now, where everybody's got a cause now, is using the name black. Black is now, they've stolen the name. Where black used to be related to a political organization for people of similar color, now everybody's assimilated to black as anybody who's got a common cause. This is why it's been assimilated to every organization that has a cause or a fight or an outcry. They've hijacked the name black and watered it down, and everybody's using the name black for their own separate agendas. So I would not say support Black Lives Matters. It's using our energy to build up the enemy, and it's for the destruction of the black race, because if you haven't got a straight black male, you have no family. It's making the black race obsolete. So I would be against supporting anything to do with Black Lives Matters.
I repeat, you are not supporting Black Lives Matters because it's a fake. That's what you say. It's not. It's not helping. It's weakening us rather than strengthening us. Is that what you're saying?
It's about gay and lesbian. It's an agenda that's been started back even in the schooling system now, where they've started a program of you can be whoever. It's not even about gay and lesbian. It's about sex swapping. It's about you don't have to be a man, you don't have to be a woman anymore. And that, under that agenda, you become obsolete as a family unit.
Yes, so we become weak while they become strong. They living off of our strength, our energy, 100%. And so.
The word black.
Are you suggesting that we don't mix then? We stop this mixing business and think strictly black to help us to recover from being like white coffee and
thing about it's about power, money, and ownership.
Right.
That's what it's about. It's not about the color situation. It's about we need to own things. We need to generate energy for ourselves. We need to empower ourselves. That black-white thing is another subterfuge to what we really need to be doing. We need to be generating wealth. We need to be educating our children. We can't be giving our children to somebody who's making a pipeline for their prison system. You know, we've become so domesticated that we've lost our ability to defend ourselves.
Okay, I'm gonna give a question to both of you. Yeah, there's are you familiar with the government is actually giving out funding to set up black business in a place called Haringey? Yeah, it was on the internet. Yeah, they sent a little text out on the Facebook, on the WhatsApp, and all that. And they said they're giving funding to set up black business in a place called Haringey. Yeah.
Yes.
It went out for the one day and then it just went quiet. You have to contact the website. What is your opinion about the government giving funding to set up black business?
Basically, the government, just as they've done with the Windrush funding, are just giving the money back to themselves. Because the money is given to the council, which is owned by the government. The only people who can get access to the money is mostly white organisations who've got all the company boxes ticked correctly, and they're the ones, just as what's happened with the Windrush money, that are taking the money, that are setting up the events, that we are, and then using us to support it, to give it the illusion that it's being put to us. But it's a financial trick that's being played constantly, because if it was a Jewish thing, if it was a Chinese thing, if it was any other race of people, only them would be able to touch that money. But under the disguise of a company, it is again another trick to look like you're giving out the money to us, but you're really funding your own pockets and your friends.
So, Supreme, where do we go from here then? If that's the case, what do you think about it? Do you think we should go and apply for this money to set up black business, or why?
Well, you said that a bit venomous there. Why?
Why? Because remember this, Mama say you must watch out for gift with strings.
Listen, you know
what I say?
One of the things I'm gonna say, the amount of people playing the lottery and they're of color. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they give their money to the lottery to win a money or a dream. In the lottery fund, the lottery is about going to go out and fund different projects. So what you've invested by buying a ticket. So what's wrong with you asking for the funding that they're giving out at the other end? And if we do not, the thing is, if they put something out there and we don't apply, they will say, "Oh look, we gave them the chance, they didn't want it." Number one. Number two, I see nothing wrong with getting funding. Right? A lot of people might self-sabotage and say, "No, man, this and that and that." But whatever you do is funded. Who you work for is funded. It's just, it just seems like we prefer someone else to deliver something to us than we deliver it to ourselves. So I'm going to say, go for the funding. Take the funding. Develop yourself and make something of it. I'm hearing a lot of... one of the things I did hear is, which is very interesting, slightly strange, people saying, "Oh, you can give up your council flat and they'll give you money to go back to Africa and live." And I know one person who's done it, but I do find it ironic that, okay, they're giving you money to go back, but you can't organise yourself here. But all of a sudden you've never learnt a language, you've never ate the food, but all you keep saying, "Yeah, Africa, Africa." And when you go there, you go with your Western ideas. You go with you don't go, you go there to teach them or tell them how you was in England. So anyway, yes, I'm going to say take the funding.
I agree with you.
Take the funding.
I agree with that.
Yes.
Another thing I'm going to say, because Brother Dougie, rest in peace, what I'm going to say is, now, Brother Doug, let's take, for instance, I'm going to just mention some figures. Brother Doug used to hire Parkview Academy. When he started, it was okay, and as it got popular, the price went up. So let's say, to do an event, they charge £170 an hour, right? We're in the building for 5 hours. Have you added it up? 5 times 570. Yeah, let's say
that's £750.
Right. That's just to hire a venue to do a community event. Now, Brother Dougie, being the person he is, used to charge £5. Now, add up how much people we will need just to get in the building, just to cover the cost. We're not making a profit, right? That's possibly, let's say 150 to 200 people we need, paying a £5.
Yeah, but that's just a platform what they use all the time. They get a building, they put us in there so that the building can create a value.
Yeah, but and what I'm trying to say is, one of my points is, right, if we had, let's say you got funding, at least you can take care of that cost. Because most of these community centres, most of these projects rely on people, not grassroots, people who are being funded. So their price is £170 plus VAT. You as a grassroots person trying to keep it real, right? You're now going to try and convince 200 people just to pay a £5. You ain't made no money back. Remember, you ain't paid for your speakers. You ain't paid for the other bits and pieces that's involved in the event. Now you will see other cultures grab that money and they'll do events every week. Boom, boom, boom. You understand? I say take the money. Yeah.
Okay. No, we just round up this thing still. But what I'm saying is, I agree with what you're saying about the funding, and I can't wait to see you so that we can organise some funding for a project. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Remember, the whole world is listening to you. You know. So.
Yeah.
They expect.
They can listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
I want to say something because you've got Jammers on the line.
Jammers is a rich man. He can stay there, man.
No. Jammers.
Jammers. Jammers. Jammer's gone.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say another thing.
Yeah.
We have the Bernie Grants Arts Centre.
Yeah, which they put the price up to that as well.
No, and the point I'm going to say, how many of us can afford to even pay for a couple of hours in that centre, which is on your doorstep, to do something for the community?
But what I Supreme, when that place started off, it was affordable, and the more we used it, is the more they put the price up.
You know what it is? Well, I won't say it on air, but it may. I used to put on events here, and I'm going to tell you something. It was cheaper for me to go all the way to Hackney Empire and hire Hackney Empire than Bernie Grants Arts Centre, and it's on my doorstep. You get what I mean? Bernie Grants Arts Centre, there's a reason why people put certain prices, because they don't want certain people to go there. If you're outpriced, they say, well, you know what, we don't want, even though it's named the Bernie Grants, we don't want grassroots organisation and that thing here.
Like house prices, it has gone up in Hackney and Tottenham and all that.
No disrespect to Bernie Grant, but it's almost like the Bernie Grant Arts Centre is regenerated. What do they call it? Gentrified, or it's changed.
Well, it's just like the Marcus Garvey Centre. Now that name alone, yeah.
What Marcus Garvey Centre? Where's that?
The Marcus Garvey. What do you call it? No. What's it called?
The library.
The library.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that building there. Yeah. They call it the Marcus Garvey.
I wish Jammers was here, because the first 3 letters said lie.
Lie.
The library.
The lie. This is where that's but it's true, because that is where that's where all the
lie in there.
No, this is how it goes. That's where the lies are buried. Yeah, so they buried the lies in a library. Yeah.
Right. Now it was very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. You have a library named the Marcus Garvey Library. How many Marcus Garvey books are in the library?
None.
Has anybody ever gone?
Yeah, I've been there. Trust me.
How many Marcus Garvey books are there?
There wasn't any.
Right. Why is that?
Because the library is not for us. The library is using the name so that we can build it.
So what's to say that they say, hold on a minute, let's change the name of the library? Because remember, if we are not patronising it and saying, look, we want more of these books, and there's nothing to stop them from saying, no, let's change the name. Because to be quite honest, I think that there should be a Marcus Garvey support, or a group of people that what we could call Marcus Garvey Friends group, that should be saying, we want more of these books in the library, because this is why it's named the Marcus Garvey Library.
Well, there's not a lot of black books in there. Yeah.
Well, you know.
So when you see, if you want to make money, open up a business and call it by a black name.
If you want to make money.
Yeah, if you want to make money. Any white man wants to make money. Open up a business and call it the Marcus Garvey Centre or the Rastafari Community Centre. And you see how much of us rush to it to use it.
Yeah, but I don't see.
At the end of the day, we don't own it, and we can't. And it's like, even when we do own a building, do we make sure that building offers a proper service for the community, or do we use that building to make money?
So, what are we saying? And I'm talking about centres. I find it very ironic that the West Indian Cultural Centre is going to be knocked down and rebuilt and rechanged. That personally is, to me, but this is me personally, the West Indian Cultural Centre is like a listed building. It should not be knocked down. That is history. Don't knock it down.
Yeah.
So whatever's going on there, to me, we have a problem.
If they have a problem, it's the people that's running it need to organise a petition and do it properly. Yeah?
No. How can the people who organise it, the people that are in there, you're actually saying, are the problem?
Well, that building, as far as I know, yeah, I think there was a 100-year lease on that building.
Yeah.
So that means there's no way anybody can take that building unless you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, but you're going to find that if the number one reasons why the assets in the community are brought back, right? A lot of the buildings were kind of given to the community, and now the councils and certain bodies are recalling all their assets, right?
But some of them
Because
ain't their assets. Some of them have been donated to black people, like that building there, and also T Chances.
Yeah, but that's the same thing. You know what happens? I remember, you know, this thing is interesting. When you talk about listed building, if you're not on it politically, yeah, personally, they will knock it down on the weekend. You understand? When no one can stop them, right? You see, we need to be, me personally, remember these people, right? When they're knocking down trees, man just chain themselves to the tree.
Yeah.
The eco warriors.
Yeah.
And people used to say, boy, they're eco freaks, they're weird. Now look, everybody wants to be green.
Yeah.
But these people were like, one phone call, all their brethren, they're squatting. Them nah move. They're chaining themselves up. Look. Now, when we do something, we're going to ask permission to chain ourselves up and protest. And to me, that's not revolutionary. That's like trying to be obedient. Isn't it, really? Isn't it? If you're going to ask for permission to do something, that is not a protest.
No, that's not.
That is like
that is a demonstration of submission.
Yeah, you're correct, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, you know, submission, you know, you.
And this is what.
And dependency.
But this is the interesting thing about Black Lives Matter. A man say, well, everybody meet up at Hyde Park. Boom. Them gone to Hyde Park. Now, if you go and you say, can I have permission to go to Hyde Park I want to protest. By the time you look around there, hundreds of police, the whole thing mash up. These people, the one thing, like, what I see, why Black Lives Matter because they're protesting. They're not asking for permission. They're like, to me, it's like, okay, if you check, there's one in Islington, there's one in Hackney, there's one, it's just popping up all over the place. They can't control it.
Yes,
the only way you can control it, Natty. Is Natty still there?
Yo, he's just stepped out the room. Natty.
Well, the only way you can control it. No, it's all right, Tamra.
Okay, brother.
I'm gonna say the only way that is to control it is the fear factor. What you and Jammers was talking about. Boy, black people can catch it. So they're putting this narrative out. Don't go. You can catch this.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, the blacks are the contaminated. You know, they're the carriers. They easily, because they easily catch it. Sometimes
you can win a war psychologically. You don't have to fire a bullet.
Yes.
You understand? Sometimes you can just say, boy, you know what? 5G. Everybody was on 5G. And who was on it the most, to me, was us. 5G.
Yeah.
So every time I look, when we get organised, there's always a distraction. That's why I say, yeah, Black Lives Matter, go where you're going, do what you're doing. But then when you get in other groups that are sitting around, just firing at them, I think you're a bit silly because you're wasting all your energy on them.
Yes.
When you should be saying, you know what? Let me organise Black Lives Matter, let everybody turn up. But boy, when I get there, I ain't chatting about Black Lives Matter. I'm chatting about my agenda.
For real.
So people are going to say, boy, I never heard of this group before. Wow, look, I don't know. You never went on. No, look, and someone's put Black Lives Matter, and I'll tell you, when you look the small writing, it's the Anti-Racism Alliance has put it up. Most of these events are the socialist worker.
Right.
So all they put is a black fist. Someone just can put a black fist up, turn up over the park, and you think it's Black Lives Matter. It's another group of people.
Well, in fact, I went to Black Lives Matter for Tottenham, in Tottenham. Tottenham Black Lives Matter, and in the wreck there. When was that? That was on Wednesday evening. And I heard them say that the first meeting they held for Black Lives Matter, it was pure white people. There was not one black person there. And now they're starting to get a trickle. I was there, and there was a couple other black men there, but it was still predominantly white. And you know, and they are aware of that. The people are actually running it, and they're asking, well, how can we get more black people to attend? Because they're beginning to feel embarrassed.
You want me to? I'll tell you how you get black people to attend. I wish Natty was in the room.
Yeah.
What you've got to do is turn it into a dance and say yes.
Yes.
Saxon are playing. Saxon is playing, and enough drink and bit. Because we just want to raise.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. That's what I said. You've got to, put a show on that attracts, that reflects, black people.
Turn it into a carnival. You understand?
Yeah.
We're very interesting people. We're very interesting. It's funny because, we've been throwing stones at the youths, but you know what I like about the youths? When them get fed up, they just put a thing on Instagram or WhatsApp and they say, "Oh, meet up at the over Broadwater Farm, let's have a party." And they all turn up and have a party.
Yeah.
Now, if I put out the same thing on Instagram and Facebook, let's all meet up. Boy, hey, right, what happened to this person? You won't see nobody turn up.
Serious matter.
Sorry, no, I take that back. You won't see the same amount of numbers turn up.
Serious matter.
Because they're just thinking like, boy, that sounds boring. That don't sound like I can check a girl. That don't sound like me can show off.
But
you understand?
Yeah, but you're right. So we keep a dance, a coxswain and People Sound and Count Shelley, Sir D's, whatever, and all that. And then after the dance, everybody go home and like the meetings we keep having, and everybody get fired up, and then after the meeting, after the dance, we just go back to the same old, same old again, round and round that. We need to break that. We need to be able to take it a step further, a step higher, because it's like going upstairs, not going downstairs. And we need to, step up. We need to make. How are we gonna do that? I mean, because we really. I mean, I know some of us are frustrated at the fact that no movement and just talk, and there's a lot of people. I'm sure it's putting a lot of people off. They're saying, look, we've been talking about this for years.
Tamra, you see the age group we need to focus on, right? Because like yourself, right, and Natty, sometimes not sometimes, you reach a certain age, right, where you start thinking about your family. You start thinking about, boy, I want to settle down, buy a house, do all the things. That's when your revolutionary years, you start winding down. But when you're young, you're fired up. So, I ain't got a job.
Yeah.
The reason why we were united back in the day, because we all had the same problem.
Yeah.
You understand? I remember going around, and it's so funny. I'm going to love. You remember a club called Trojan?
Yes,
Fred, I was in Trojan and Rodigan was playing Stereograph. Stereograph, I licked down some tune and then Rodigan come on. You know what Rodigan said? Rodigan says, yes, Black Man Day of Action. And you know what it was? It was the new Crossfire. It said Black Man Day of Action. Take the day off, blah, blah, blah. Boom. that was one of the largest march ever.
Yes,
The New
yes.
Cross Fire.
Yes, I remember
And
that.
what was our newspaper? Our newspaper at the time was the Sound System and your David Rodigans.
Mm-hmm.
Cause we were all in a dance. The reason why we're in a dance is £1 with 50 pence we come in. Because we were there because it was a release, like musically.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the tunes at the time, the tunes were talking about us, how we was socially.
Yes.
So we would be slapping the wall when a man chat about, we can't take the pressure no more. Put. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
People are we remember man chat lyrics on a microphone and talk about Maggie Thatcher and blah blah and concert.
Yeah.
That was our way of saying yeah.
Yes,
And let me tell you something. You see New Crossfire? After the New Crossfire, check what happened. Equal opportunities come in. People start getting their council flat.
Yeah.
People started getting jobs on the council.
Yeah.
The so-called not troublemakers, leaders, they gave them jobs.
Yeah.
So what did the jobs now do? It gave you aspiration. So you're going to say, boy, I'm going to have a job now, you know. Boy, I'm going to earn 30 grand a year. You're not going to threaten that job. Because now you're going to say, boy, I can buy my BM. I can get can get that. You understand?
Yes.
So
put down a deposit on a property.
Now, if you want to control someone and is give them a role, give them something, and pay them, and they look at it like, boy, can't threaten. You know, can't threaten your job. How many people is frightened to speak out at work because they say, boy, I'm gonna lose my job. I can't pay my rent, this, that. You understand?
That's the fear factor again, the fear factor. We have to stop, we have to let go the fear and just do the right thing so the right thing happens.
I wish Clive was here. Because him is a man who's a union man. And you talk to any union man, you say how many cases you see with black workers getting disciplined. As soon as you run up your mouth, boy, you know what? You've been off sick, and your lateness, you know, so we're going to suspend you. It's enough man thinking, oh shit, I'm going to lose my job. I've got to now be obedient.
Yes, and subservient.
I'm sorry I was late, and the sickness, I won't do it again. And you go back to work and you're just obedient. Do you understand?
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes, brother, because we're winding up now, so... Yes, we give thanks and praise to the Most High for this powerful reasoning, enlightening, strengthening, inspiring.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this is my daughter on the line. She doesn't know I'm on studio.
Okay, she wants to take part in the debate. She wants to take part in the debate.
Okay,
brethren.
All right,
blessed
Supreme,
love, give thanks.
Give thanks for your contribution, Supreme. And I'm looking forward for us to come together so that we can get a project from the funding that they're offering, right? And I'm serious, you know. This funding, what they say they're offering, we're going to go for this funding. And if they're chatting a load of rubbish, then we just let man them know what time it is. Because we've been doing this thing a long time, Supreme. How long you been doing this now? Oh, he's not on the phone. I'm gone. Okay, don't worry about that. All right, then. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Supreme, give thanks for your support. Brother Jammers, the Jam Master himself, give thanks for your support as well. All the listeners, give thanks as well. But we're in a very interesting position here. You know what I mean? And even in oh, there he is. Oh, did I plug it out or did you plug it out? Oh, plug it out. Wrong phone. There he is, my millionaire friend. Supreme, the millionaire man.
I hope I'm not live, you know.
Yeah, you're live.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are live.
Yeah. Well, I missed what you were saying.
No, I'm just saying, we're gonna come together and let's test out this thing to see if they're really, really serious about giving funding to the community in Haringey. So we're gonna go down there and see what kind of funding, and let's and try a thing. Not we're gonna try a thing. We're gonna do a thing because we're not
gonna do a thing. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it for the youth them. How long have you been doing this, Supreme?
Dude, what's this? What does it mean?
When I say this, the works that you're doing, community work, I will call it, How long have you been doing it?
Well, I've been on the radio station that I've been on about 13 years. And before that, I was on another radio station for quite a while. So I've been doing it, let's say, nearly over 20 years on radio.
Right. I remember when you used to be on Bless, and that was from like 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how long Supreme's been doing this thing, even before then. So when you keep doing things for a long time, you're going I sometimes get a little bit exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I said, I'm tired of this, Rasta. But in this particular time we're in now is a different ball game. Now we're reaching River Jordan. As tired as I may be, we got to cross over, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if we don't cross over now, they're going to try and take the people then back in at Egypt to build more pyramids and to stand up in the pit and make straws with no straw, bricks with no straw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we ain't doing that, bro.
Yeah.
We ain't doing
Natty,
that. Yeah.
Before I go, in my head I've got a tune, yeah?
Yeah.
And I wonder if you can tell me the name of this track. It's by Bushman. And the lyrics go, so I have to blaze fire. This world is in a mess. Right now, I have to, and it goes, tired, fed up. I have to blaze fire. You know that tune?
By Bushman?
Yeah.
No. But you know what? You need to go to
Jamaica.
Supreme, you need to
why I have to blaze fire.
Yeah, I might have it. I got the album, bro. So what I do, when I see you again, I'll just give you a copy of the album. It's on the album anyway, but I don't know what the track's called.
Tired, fed up. You know, I wish I could sing.
Yeah, well, you need to go to Jamaica for a little while and tune up your vocal cords and break the language barrier, like to sound a bit more like Bushman.
Listen, you say I have to go to Jamaica, I can go West Green Road, innit?
Yeah, you could do that. Before you used to be able to go Darston and Wrigley Market, but now it's changed colour. There's too much. There's too much. It's changed up. So you can see that from West End it's coming down, going down, and you understand. So as I said, we could do what we got to do. Because if we don't do it, the youth then will mash up things.
Yeah.
Not intentionally, like them want to mash it up, but they're vexed and they're pissed off and they just want to do their thing and they don't care about prison. But we care about them. So we have to just do this one thing for them. That's how I see it. No, I'm not saying that they're bad and they're all going to mash up things. I'm not saying that they're all bad like that. I don't mean it in a negative way. But I'm just saying that we need to give them our support as well.
Yeah.
We've been there, done that. We've got the experience of Babylon. They're just coming up in a Babylon. You understand? They need to know the road. They just know from where they started, but you know, they need to know from where I've been and where Tam has been and where you have been. You understand? They need to buy the book, Rasta. Them buy this book, from rehab to life. I'm not telling you to buy it just because your money. It's not about money. It's about the experience of us, our people, our brethren, them that's trod the road that some of you are trodding now and don't know how to come off. This book may help you. You understand? And if that book don't help you, then you better pray. Or go church. You know what I mean? As simple as that. But that's it, Supreme. Thank you for your contribution. And
yes,
when you're ready, you give us a shout. We're going to sign out with a track from the album
called Dishonesty and Violence.
Yes, and watch out for the volume 2 of this album. You never know about that. Volume 2 is coming out sometime later on in the year. And things. So people, Supreme, give thanks for your time.
Okay.
And give thanks, brother Jammers. Bless.
Okay, bless.
All right, cool. Want to sign up with anything in a closing word, Mr. T?
Commence the cleansing of my soul.
Yes, brothers and sisters, I hoped by the grace of the Most High some light has been thrown into your lives, you know, so you can we can start thinking in a more balance and in a way that brings us the desire to unite and cast away our fears and move on up, as Brother Curtis Mayfield used to say. You know, your guide, direct, and protect you all, and by the grace of the Most High, we'll meet again next Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. Bless Radio. Thank you, Brother Natty, radio controller, engineer, and his son, and give thanks to DJ Supreme, DJ Jammers, and to Brother Egan, and to all you beautiful listeners out there. Love you all, brothers and sisters. Let we love ourselves and do the right thing, so the right thing happens. Fear not, fret not. Make we trust each other. You know, we trust the bookie too much. I trust our money, we expect for win something, never win nothing. Make we trust each other and move on up. We can't fear. Our time is now, brothers and sisters. Blessed love.
All right, people, stay blessed, be good, and if you can't be good, you have a problem. Simple.
What was I going to do with so many options in view? The answer swiftly came when, as a victim of a burglary game, all my treasured possessions were taken away, save the Bible and the ganja herb that laid amongst the Psalms that kept me calm while keeping evil away. It wasn't easy. In relapse, I stole and defrauded a little, but by the grace of God, I got back on track with some ganja I bought to sell and to get some money back. And as the business rapidly grew, I became shepherd and head of a ganja crew. Sprinkled ganja in my ital stew. Ganja tea was my morning brew. Ganja cakes and pudding for the chosen few. I was strictly ital through and through. Surrounded by gangsters, reggae stars, and DJs too, with their crew. The chalice we lit burned an ounce at a time. And as we gave thanks and praises to the Most High Yah, with conscious reasoning on biblical lines. If we smoked 16 ounces, half or 3/4, or all the bill was mine. With 2 restaurants and a nightclub, photography business, pool and electronic games venture, Child record label too, including the ganja business, I was doing very well, thank you. I had a collector's Mercedes, a BMW, and more cars parked outside. The house in which I lived with 3 women, at which men would marvel and sigh. How do you do it? And I would simply say, honesty and money paved the way, resulting in peace of mind and integrity.